Let's talk about estrangement prevention. I talk to so many moms of teenagers. Their biggest concern is not just that it's not great right now, but that if they don't fix it, their kids are going to become adults and they're not going to want to ever come home or ever want to come back. It is a huge fear that I hear over and over because guess what? Young adults, teenagers, they are learning the vocabulary, they are learning to be able to articulate why they didn't necessarily feel emotionally safe at home when they were a teenager and why they don't feel safe coming home when they're an adult. And when they're an adult, they have a choice in the matter and they don't necessarily want to put themselves in that place. So, what I want to talk about is what I teach moms of teenagers. I'm a coach for moms of teens. I help you become trusted by your teenager. And when you're trusted by your teenager, you're trusted as an adult. So, here's a story that I want to share. My youngest child is a senior in high school, and as seniors, they get to paint parking spots. If they have a car, if they want to pay a little bit extra to have a designated parking spot for the full year, it's kind of a fun tradition. They get to choose their own theme and paint it, yada, yada, yada. So 2 weeks ago, on a Saturday, it was pretty warm in Colorado. And I don't say that lightly because I'm a Texan. I venture to say it was hot, but it was very warm, especially for fellow Coloradans. Anyway, we had gone to the store to get paint for my daughter. I was kind of cringing at the $80 that we paid. And then I talked to other parents who were paying $200 because my daughter just got one solid color and then a smaller, it was a pretty basic painting, I guess I could say. And go there to paint. The parking lot is filled with dedicated parents sweating. I know they spent a lot of money to get there. They're hot outside. They're spending the afternoon on a Saturday helping their teenager with this perfect art piece of a parking spot. And I look around and I'm like, dang, these are some dedicated parents. And then I thought to myself, because I'm in many conversations and I'm thinking, I bet 50% of them have a teenager that have said to them in the last 6 months, or will likely say to them in the coming 6 months, you don't even care about anything that I do. You don't care about me. You don't care about what I want, yada, yada, yada. Something along those lines, right? You feel me? Have you heard this before? Have you thought something like this? Have you thought, I do so much for you? I do so much for my teenager. I go to the parking spot, I help them paint, I buy the paint, I'm supportive, I'm slaving out there helping them measure and paint and do all of the things. And yet, how dare they say that to me, right? And I think to myself, these are dedicated parents. I know they love their kids. And here, I don't like to say this very often because I don't want my friends or people around me to think that I'm judging them, but I'm studying language and responses so much. I heard some responses, and it's not just minor annoyances because it's hot outside and they're not listening. I heard parents telling their kids how to do it. I heard them expressing not just frustration, but with annoyance, some of the lines like, just let me do it, right? So that's some minor examples of things that I heard, but I have no idea what goes on at home. Yes, they're dedicated parents who are helping with this painted parking spot, and I want to know how you're talking to your kids when they don't do their chores. I want to know how you're talking to them when they're late for curfew. And I'm not saying that we're doormats and we let them do whatever it is that they want, but a dedicated parent does not equal a trusted parent. A dedicated parent helping do all the things, driving, buying the paint, does not mean that you're automatically emotionally safe enough that they share important things. Okay? I want to give you some insight into my brain because I've done the research. I've messed up a lot of ways myself. And I want you to know that if you have a teenager that comes to you saying something along the lines of whatever I said a minute ago, of you don't even care, right? I want you to think of an example like this, where I know that you care. I see that you're dedicated. And what they're trying to say is, but they don't have the words to articulate, I don't feel like you're listening to me. I don't feel like you care about my perspective because you are shoving down your perspective down my throat. Okay? So as I think about my daughter, her last first day of high school, I want you to think about some beliefs that I know many parents have. I used to believe that staying close to my child, to my teenager, meant staying involved, the dedicated parent, knowing what was happening, asking questions, giving advice, because I've got so much wonderful advice to give because I've lived 40 plus years, and hello, you've only lived 15, 16, 17 years. Listen, I know as a fellow mom to mom, you have some great advice, and it makes them feel powerless. When you give so much advice, it makes them feel incapable. When you can equate these things, then you start to have these aha moments of, oh, I get it. I don't necessarily like it, but I get it. Just because you know it too doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be able to break that pattern. This is what I help moms do. You've got a pattern. We've all got many patterns. And when you understand that this pattern is what causes your teenager to feel disconnected, to not want to share with you, not want to talk to you, not want to open up to you when they're happy, sad, angry, mad, all of the things, when you understand the pattern, sometimes just doing it automatically isn't so natural. I'm all about teaching you immersion in what I call the trusted language. If you want to be trusted by your teenager, you got to learn the trusted language. You got to learn all of the little nuances that come along with it. And so, as I'm consulting my notes here, there is a difference between being available to your teenager and pursuing them in a way that they can receive it. This is where you've got an island over here. You're on what I call the mainland. You're on this mainland of, something's not working. You see this island of your dreams. Maybe you see other parents dancing on the beach with their teenager. How do you get there? How do you get from here to there? You build a bridge. This is what I help you do, is build a bridge step by step. And I do this at the Trusted Workshop that I teach every once in a while. So I'm going to put a link down below. I want you to see when the next Trusted Workshop is, if it fits for you. It is a live experience where we talk live about a handful of these nuances, a handful of blind spots that parents have, just like the blind spot of, wait, I'm a dedicated parent. I'm here painting the parking spot. Why aren't they now divulging their deepest, darkest secrets with me? I help them paint their parking spot, so therefore they should, right? Have you thought things like this? And you can be a dedicated, loving parent and not feel emotionally safe. And I know that feels hard to hear. And what I hope for you to see it as this feedback of, okay, now I know there's something different I can do. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to dig into what that looks like. This is what I teach you at the Trusted Workshop. So I want you to I'm going to tell you 3 shifts, and then we're going to part ways. I want shift number 1 to be, how do I stay involved, instead of not just going from how do I stay involved to how do I stay available, right? Involved is the parent who buys the paint, goes to the parking spot, slaves away in the heat. Available is being in that place where you're not chasing them down. You're available and ready for them when they are ready to open up, not you deciding when it's time to open up. Shift number 3, how do I get them to tell me all the things, to what makes telling me feel safe? What can I do or shift in my response that helps my teenager feel safe to open up to me? And shift number 3, how do I keep them close, right? That's what a lot of moms are thinking in this estrangement prevention. How do I keep them close now and guarantee their closeness even later? And shift that to, what kind of relationship will they want to return to? This work that I teach in coaching moms of teenagers is not just for the here and now. It is estrangement prevention. It is when they are young adults, they choose to want to spend time with you, not just because they feel like they have to. I want you to think about what you can do to shift the pattern that you are stuck in to a new pattern. I want you to think about why won't my teenager talk to me? Not just what am I doing wrong, but I'd really like to know, if you really want to know what it is that you can do different, this is what I teach. This is your invitation. Hopefully this has opened up your mind just a little bit more, that you can be a dedicated parent and still have the need to develop the skill to be a trusted parent. There is a difference between dedicated and trusted. This is what the gap that I help you bridge. If you're ready for it, I'm going to link it down below, the next workshop. What questions do you have? What can I clarify? This is my goal, to make more for you, to better understand what you could do different.